All right, so we're all here about trying to see differently, right? Okay, so everything begins with perception. What you know, what you believe, the clothes you wear, the people you fall in love with, everything begins with perception. To understand perception is not only to understand the brain works, it's to understand what it is to be human. And I have one aim, which is I want you to know less at the end than you think you know now. All right? And I always succeed, right? So, how many of you, when you woke up this morning, thought you saw the world as it really is? How many are seeing reality? Anyone? One. How did you get here if you're not seeing the world as it really is? Right? I think all of you think you see the world accurately. How many of you believe in illusions, that illusions exist? Yes? All right. The definition of illusion is they see the world differently from the way it really is. So if you believe in illusions, you think you get it right most of the time. It's just that sometimes you get it wrong. So let's do a quick test to see how good you are. How many can see the predator that's about to jump out at you? And if you haven't seen it yet, you're dead. Let's add 10% of the information. Can you see it? For those who maybe shouldn't be here, there it is, right? If we go back, you can see it was always staring at you. Your brain did not evolve to see absolutes. It's not even interested in absolutes. This is because context is everything. Your brain evolved to find relationships, even at the most fundamental level of seeing lightness. And to understand what it is to be human is to understand why context is everything. So instead of telling you I want to show you, I want you to hold up your finger to me, ideally this one, hold it up, and line it up to me so that your finger and I are the same size. We're not the same size. But as far as your brain was concerned, the only information it gets from the world is through its eyes or through its ears or through its skin. And at that point, me and your finger were the same size. And this is the fundamental problem that your brain evolved to solve, which is that all data is meaningless. How many work on big data? Right? All data is pointless, right? It's useful, but it's not meaningful, which makes you essential. Because it could literally mean anything. It doesn't come with instructions. And this is true at the most basic level of your brain. I want you to stare at the dot between the red and the green. Don't look anywhere else. We're going to stare at that dot for 30 seconds. Keep looking at the dot, right? I'm going to tell you what's happening inside your head. Your brain is learning. It's learning that the left side of its visual field is under green light and the right side is under red light. That's becoming its new normal. Which means everything you see after this experience will be a consequence of this new normal. Keep looking. Don't look anywhere else. When I tell you to, I'm going to ask you to look at the dot between the desert scenes, but not yet, okay? 3, 2, 1, look there. Do they still look the same? No, the one on the left should look reddish, and the one on the right will look greenish, right? And now as you look around, your brain is again redefining normality. And we're just talking about color. So imagine what's true in everything else that your brain does. So what do you see when you open your eyes? You never see the world. You're forever separate from that world. The world exists. It's just that you don't see it. Nor do you see the data, because that could mean anything. Instead, your brain evolved to see a meaning that was useful to see in the past. And not just your past, the past of your family, the past of your culture, the past of your organization. How is it possible to ever see differently? Right? How can you ever step outside the box? Because you never can. All you do is you step inside a new box. You can never leave your bias and assumptions. So how can you ever see differently? The answer is simple. If everything you see is grounded in your assumptions and biases, then if you change your biases, you'll change your perception. I'm going to show you how powerful this is just using motion. Now you come into the world, we all come into the world with a bias that we look down onto surfaces, okay? So right now you see the wireframe surface at the middle as if you're looking down on it, which is why you see it spinning from left to right. I want you to change that bias. I want you to imagine you're looking up at that surface. And suddenly, it'll go in the opposite direction. All you're doing is changing your assumptions about which orientation that surface is. I'm not changing its motion, you are. What if I were to tell you that there's no motion on the screen at all? Nothing is moving. Would you believe me? Nothing is moving. You're looking at an animation. An animation is a series of still images that are slightly different from each other. You're seeing the meaning of the change, not the change. If I took those same images and put them in random order, you would see flickering. So if all you have to do is change your assumptions, why is it so difficult to change our biases? Why is it so hard to change our assumptions? And this is the most important point, which is that we hate not knowing, right? We hate to not know. Because during evolution, to not know was to die. Dying is easy. Staying alive is hard. If you're not sure that's a predator, it's too late. Your brain evolved to take what is uncertain and make it certain. What is the one behavior where you actually love uncertainty? It's not that you tolerate it, you love it, right? You seek it. And the answer is play. Play is literally evolution's solution to uncertainty. It's why play evolved. And play is a way of being inside your mind, right? It's this way of being that enables you to be within uncertainty, to thrive within uncertainty. And it celebrates uncertainty, it encourages diversity, it's open to possibility, it's inherently cooperative, and it's what we call intrinsically motivating. The reward of play is play. Almost every behavior you do for a reward that's different from what you do. You work to make money. What's the reward of play? It's play. And what happens if you add intention to play? You get science. Science is nothing other than play with intention. You add rules to play, you have a game. That's an experiment. In fact, everything that is creative, I would argue, is play with intention. So who cares? What this means is just a different way of thinking about conflict, right? We're trained to enter conflict by proving the other person wrong and to shift them towards me. They're trying to do exactly opposite, prove that I'm wrong and shift me towards them. What would happen if we entered conflict with doubt? Enter conflict with a question instead of an answer. Enter it with uncertainty rather than certainty.
Beau, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Beau.